I'm Russ Kickle, and today's episode of American Reef is pure gold, right? Especially if you are a hobbyist looking to turn your hobby into a business. Stay tuned. So why do I say this episode is pure gold? Well, besides the fact that we're talking about converting corals to cash, right? The information that is provided is truly priceless, right? A lot of people have aspirations of, again, basically taking their corals and turning them into cash, right? And they think, well, hey, I'll basically create a website, go onto some forums out there, and the business will come. And most of the times, that just doesn't work. I mean, you'll sell some things, but again, you have to get your name out there and your product out there. And that aspect is called marketing, right? It's building demand, right? I heard a phrase a few years back, went something to the effect of, you have to be known to be considered and considered to be bought, right? And that being known aspect is marketing. And Shane over at SBB Corals, who is a small, successful coral farmer, is sharing his, I'll say, successes and failures with his strategies that basically allowed him to get to the point where he is today. And again, in our hobby, it's one of those things where, there are many gates into converting your corals into cash. And the one that you'll basically see a lot of videos on and a lot of knowledge on is growing the corals, and that is an important aspect. But again, you can grow all the corals you want. If nobody wants to buy them, then you're not going to convert it into cash, right? And again, that's why this is pure gold, and that's why you should support people like Shane over at SBB Corals, because again, you won't see a lot of these because it's really the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. I mean, Shane's doing it, and it's a win-win because from his side, he's getting his name out there. But then from the other side, he's sharing his experiences so you don't have to make the same mistakes that he made. Or you can take the lessons that he's learned and add your own twist to them, right? And so he's helping you be successful while at the same time getting his name out there. He's marketing. Right? And again, that is just an extremely important part of this, right? And with people like Shane, right, who are good, honest people, you should support them, right? If you have a need for any kind of coral, just again check out his site, sbbcorals.com. As well as all my sponsors, truthfully, right? Whether that's Bulk Reef Supply, Premium Aquatics, Tunzi, Ecosystems. Again, they're all smaller, kind of family-owned kind of business. Well, not so much Bulk Reef Supply anymore. But still, good, honest people, and they won't let you fail, right? And this is just another example of those kind of people, what they do for the hobby, what they do for you. So show them some love, and next time you have a reef keeping need, check them out. And let's hear what Shane has to say. Shane, you going outside? Is it because you got a little baby that you don't want to wake up?
We do. We just got last week we got a brand new addition to the family, and we just basically gave birth to a baby boy.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you so much.
Is baby boy sleeping?
Yeah, he is. So I don't want to wake him up. My wife she's got to get as much rest as she can. So I figured, you know what? Let's just take this outside today.
Good move. Yeah, it's so funny, right? They never tell you, or at least the first you're kind of like feeding is 2 hours in between, but it's start to start. So if you have a slow eater, you're kind of like, Oh man, I just got to bed and now I got to get up again and feed. All right.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough at night. We've been taking like, like these 6 hour shifts. But yeah, it's definitely, I can totally see, the next few weeks are just going to be lack of sleep, but yeah, we're getting through it. It's definitely worth it. So, but yeah, no, we're outside right now. We're here outside now.
Well, thanks for taking the time and battling the elements for for the viewers, so to speak. So today, I thought what we're going to do is kind of go over more of that, what it takes, right, to actually start a coral farm and, again, have a small business of your own. And one of the topics that we had talked about was something simple, which is the marketing aspect, right? The whole social media aspect and how much time you've kind of got into it and the process and all that sort of stuff, right? So I figured, hey, that's probably a whole segment in itself. So if it's good with you, let's jump on that.
Yeah, no, I would love to help. Obviously it's been a complete learning experience over the last few years, and anything I can do to help, I would love to educate and let people know how we're doing it as well.
Well, perfect. So first of all, let's back up and say, do you think you have a successful online marketing kind of strategy? Number one.
So it's always evolving, but I do think it is somewhat successful. Marketing online, I do think that there is a potential to reach a lot of people. Obviously, in the United States, there's 50 different states, so hopefully, with everyone looking at their cell phone and staring at their computer and their screens, we try to get into their mindset and at least try to get exposure through the social media outlets.
And so with that, you kind of have a strategy, meaning you want to touch everybody, so to speak, one time a day, 10 times a day, 1,000. What's your general strategy?
It's a good question. I mean, I think it's really a matter of just being relevant and you don't want to do too much. I think, people staring at their phones and stuff, like you maybe want to touch them once per day or maybe twice per day. You don't want to do too much because then, they kind of get overwhelmed with the information. So yeah, we definitely want to at least, post stuff like maybe once or twice per day on the different, outlets that are on social media, whether it's, Facebook, Instagram, and now we just opened up a Twitter account. So we're trying to get relevant over there. And then, obviously there's Reef to Reef, which it's kind of considered a social media. So those are pretty much our main platforms, again, which is Reef to Reef, Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok. Sorry, I meant TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
Yeah.
And do you find out of all of those platforms, for example, that there is one that is more dominant as far as kind of bringing in activity to SBB Coral?
It's hard to track it that way. I think kind of all of them. I mean, we used to just focus on Facebook, and Facebook has many different ways. Like you can join all of the different groups. So it's kind of been a journey, actually. From day one, it's been a journey. I can kind of share with you what I mean by that. But originally, we were on Facebook when we first started. Kind of before anyone knew SBB Corals, kind of before we even were a company, before we were like a brand. It was just me with one little BioCube, and we started. We found some. So this is like day one, right? Like I guess now this is like the journey. This is day one where we weren't even really marketing at that point, but we found like all these Facebook groups. Like I know one of them that we found was called the Shroom Room. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Have you?
Yeah, actually I have, because I was like, oh, shroom.
Yeah. So, the Shroom Room, which talks about all the mushrooms. And then it was the official SPS frag swap, which was one of them. And then, Mike Bigger, when he was marketing online, he had like there was one group called the official STFU, which was another group. So this all started on Facebook. And, what happened was Facebook actually ended up changing all their algorithms. and they banned the use of like live animal sales. So a lot of these Facebook groups got shut down. But what was happening with those, so originally when we started, we were, basically just posting our pictures in these groups, let's say it was like 4 to 5 of these groups. We were posting pictures, and then we were getting a lot of likes, and a lot of people discovered our corals just in these like little Facebook groups. And in these Facebook groups, you were allowed to sell openly. So, we were doing like these auctions on these Facebook groups. We were doing like these, what you see is what you get, buy now. And it was amazing. I mean, it was really working and it was great. And then all of a sudden, it was like Facebook just like banned it all. And, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, this is great. Everyone sees us. And now we can't sell on Facebook anymore. And it was crazy. Like, I was scared. I was like, oh my God, my business is dead. What am I going to do? There's no more business. And then we really had to pivot. And, to be honest, it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because once they banned all the Facebook groups, we had to figure out and reinvent ourselves. How can we market online? So when these Facebook groups were open, they're still open, but you can't really aggressively market in them anymore. But like, we didn't have a website when we were marketing in these Facebook groups, because we would just post a picture, buy this or do this auction, and people were literally buying off of those groups. So when those groups closed down, we had to basically sell our product somewhere else. So I had to open up a website, and the website that we obviously opened up was SBB Corals website. And because of those groups shutting down, we had to open up our website and we had to sell on our website. And then we learned, and in trial and error, and my personal account on Facebook actually got banned a few times. They call it Facebook jail or whatever you want to call it. The first time I got banned for 15 days. And I said, oh my God, I said, I'm out of business now for 15 days. And then my Facebook group my personal Facebook page got banned for 30 days. I said, oh my God, I said, I'm out of business. So I opened up my website, and then we learned that on Facebook, you actually can still sell on Facebook, but you have to open up a Facebook business page, and then you have to post the corals on the Facebook business page and then forward it to the groups from the Facebook business page. But so like I mentioned, once though the Facebook, stopped selling, we had to open up the online, our website, and then we had to get creative and figure out, okay, well, where else can we now sell? So we then discovered Instagram. So it led us to start selling on Instagram. It then led us to start discovering, well, where else can we sell? So we said, okay, well, Reef to Reef obviously is one of the largest marketplaces for coral. So we had to basically join Reef to Reef as a vendor. And then again, I mentioned Instagram. And then, we then said, okay, well, where else can we sell? And then we now got on to TikTok. So those are basically all of the, resources now that we're selling on. And, we're still thinking now, okay, well, how else can we reach more people? But yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to get into kind of each of the platforms and how we've been successful selling on each of the platforms and kind of what we've done.
One step back. I'm assuming when you say sell, though, like when you're at like Instagram or TikTok, when you say sell, what you mean is you're posting videos to say, this is what we have to sell, right? But you still buy it outside of their platforms, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, right? That's true?
Correct. So basically all the promotion, let's say, whether it's on Reef to Reef, we post a picture, whether it's on Instagram, we post a picture, all of those pictures basically have a link that leads directly to the website. So the actual sale is taking place on the website.
Perfect. So now, again, for that future hobbyist who wants to do this, if they follow that strategy, at least they won't get, I'll say,
in Facebook jail, Instagram jail, and then their businesses stop right away, right? Whereas unfortunately you had to learn the hard way. But why not share and let everybody else learn, so to speak, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so to that point, let's kind of go down through. Let's start at Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and even Reef to Reef, and just explain how you use them, right? And how much time it takes, right? Because that's one aspect that I don't think a lot of people understand, that there's a big commitment here,
Yeah, there is. So yeah, I'll go into kind of each one. And then, please just stop me if you do have any questions, because, I could go on for hours
I'm sure.
Topic, because it is a passion, to try to figure out all these things. So where to start? I mean, I guess, the first thing is kind of explaining our sales model, because, with our model, in terms of the promotion, it might not be, what everyone else is doing. I know, most companies basically have their website, and then in their website, they might have like different collections, right? Like whether it's a what you see is what you get collection, or it's a collection of all of their mother colonies, and then it's cut to order, or if they have like an SPS collection or a zoo collection. A lot of traditional companies, they basically have their corals for sale online 24/7, meaning that they can go onto their website and they can go to their what you see is what you get section, and they basically have everything available that's for sale, and they're constantly updating that, whether that's daily or monthly or weekly. But at any given time, you can go to their website and you can see what's for sale. Now, we don't do it like that. I was thinking of doing it like that. I think if you do it like that, then you can constantly market on Facebook and Instagram, and all of your links can kind of go towards like daily sales. We don't do it like that because we are somewhat of a smaller operation. We wouldn't be able to ship daily. So we've kind of fallen into this model where once a month we upload, like, now it sounds crazy, but we're uploading about 1,000 items a month onto the website. And then once a month, we basically start our sale on a Wednesday and we end it on a Sunday. So once a month, from Wednesday to Sunday, we put up 1,000 corals, and then we basically blitz market like everything like crazy.
Right.
And then in between that, our goal is to just post stuff to gain followers. So we're daily trying to gain followers, and then we're monthly basically pushing it out to do a big sale once a month. So that way we can batch everything at once. And what I mean by batching is by batching all of our pictures. So, to take 1,000 pictures takes about 10 hours. And then once we take 1,000 pictures, we then have to upload 1,000 corals to the website. Uploading the corals takes about 16 hours because you got to upload them, you got to name them. And then once we do our promotion, we're promoting it Wednesday to Sunday. And then come Monday, we're organizing all of our orders. And then we're then texting everyone. And then we're batching our shipping. So, it takes us about, it's actually some rain coming down here. But I'm covered here, so it's okay.
So I was going to say, if you're getting wet, let's take it inside, or we'll do it another time.
No. I'm here. I'm under like a covered area, so we're good. Just over a bit, so I'm more covered.
See, what won't you do for the reef hobbyist out there, right? Battling the elements, right? Good job.
Yeah, no, I'm good now. So basically, so I'm just kind of discussing our model. So, and then obviously when it comes to shipping, we're batching our shipping. So, we're selling about 1,000 corals, which equals about I would say about 115 boxes that we're sending out per month. So we're doing on average, once the sales come in, about 30 to 40 boxes per day. And then by the time all of that is done, it then takes us about another 20 to 25 days to then cut corals, clean the racks, and then kind of restart the whole process. And the only reason why I brought that up is because we've built our social media marketing and, marketing, all that stuff around this strategy. So that's why I kind of brought that up of how we batch our sales and how we're, why we have to do the strategy around that. So let me know if you have any questions of that, and then I'll go into each.
Yeah, millions of questions, right? So first of all, what a great idea, number one. Again, understanding your strategy first, and then building a social media, again, plan, we'll say, to attack it that way. Because to your point, if you're shipping twice a month, well, then that changes the whole thing, right? Or if you're shipping daily or whatever that is. So that makes perfect sense. One of the pieces you said, you promoting, right, during the week, to kind of build up. Do you keep track of what, corals, or how, what's the goal there? Is it, because you said it was to basically, again, send pictures out so people can see what is coming up, right? But do you keep track of the types of, frags that you're going to be actually posting, so you don't do duplicates, or do you care, right? Do you just kind of do what you're working on that day?
That's a good question. So I guess, what it breaks down to is, what are we doing on a daily basis? So like I mentioned, every day we literally want to just gain followers. And, the question, I guess, because why are we even doing all this, right? I mean, the question becomes now at this point, how many new customers can we get? I think, just to reveal some numbers, I think we currently have about 550 different people who have ordered from us in the last, let's say, 3 years that we've been in business. And, the question becomes, how do we get more customers? Now, those 550 customers, they're not ordering from us every single month. I wish they were, because then we'd be sending out 500 boxes. But out of the 550 customers, I would say that we're sending out about 70 boxes, 70 repeat customers per month. Now, some of them, obviously, maybe we have some customers that are buying every month. Maybe we have some that buy every 4 months or 5 months. Or, what happens is some customers buy from us and then their tanks get full and then some of their stuff dies, so they want to rebuy it. Or sometimes a customer gets a bigger tank, so then they want to buy again. So 550 customers, about 70 per month are repeat. And then we find that we're getting about 30 new customers per month. So the question is how to get more customers. We saw something online. These are just statistics that we're constantly chasing. We saw an article online, and I kind of think it's like BS. Maybe it was an article written to try to, get some investors, so they thought that there was millions of hobbyists. But the statistic, that the number that we read, is that there's 700,000 people in the United States that have saltwater tanks. Now, that is just a staggering number. And I don't necessarily think that that's a true number. I know, when I look at the giants out there, like Bulk Reef Supply is a giant, they have 100,000, likes, or 100,000, people following them. If we only have 550 customers out of, let's say, 100,000, it's almost like, are we even scratching the surface, or is the coral, niche. It's just, there's not that many people. I mean, I have to think there's more. I mean, I think so. Okay, so now it's like, how do you get more customers? And in doing research and talking to people, we found that customers buy coral two different ways. Okay, they either buy it online or they're going to their local fish store. And I think out of those 700,000, and I'm just going to scrap that number, just call it 100,000, just to
Yeah.
be more realistic,
Yeah.
So out of those 100,000 customers, you have to figure they're buying it online or they're buying it in the local fish store. And what we found is that the people who buy it at local fish store, they're scared to buy it online. They're fearful. Is it going to come in dead? Is it not? So it's, how do we convert? It's number one, how do we get more of the online people to buy from us? And how do we get those local fish store folks to convert them to buy online? And, I mean, this is kind of like a tandem random, but, where I live now, it's almost, it's not like a city. We moved, you can probably see the background. We're more like the country, but even in my area, I have a local friend, not to mention his name. I know you know who he is too. And he has a service business. And, let's say that this area, which, let's call it like I don't know, I want to say like a 10 or 15 mile radius, 20-mile radius. He told me he has like, I think 400 service clients. I mean, to me, I was like, 400 service clients in a rural area? Like, that just is like a mind-blowing number to me. Yeah. I mean, if I'm like, there's 400 customers, within a couple mile radius that have tanks, like, maybe the number is 200,000 or 300,000 countrywide, right? I mean, countrywide. So now it's like, all right, how do we convert those people? So, again, we're just discovering all these numbers, convert these people. So for us, like I mentioned, we're tackling online. And, like I mentioned, we're getting about 30 new people every month. So yeah, I guess we can start going into the different aspects of, the things that we're currently doing to try to get more customers. I guess, we could start, with Facebook. If we could start there. So, yeah. So on Facebook, you basically have to join all of these groups, right? So we had, and this might sound crazy, but, we did it. We have like an outsourced team out of India, and we basically hired them to go onto Facebook and find every single saltwater group that talks about coral. And there's about 400 groups, 400 groups online, and they're all talking. And I'm talking about like these groups have like 500 plus members. Some of them have, 80,000 members. So, our research showed us that there's 400 groups on Facebook, and they're all talking about saltwater, and they're all talking, I mean, maybe not coral, but they're talking about, saltwater and, the different aspects of the hobby. So, we are now joining all of these Facebook groups, and this is just this is new, right? Like, this is a new thing that we're doing to try to get to those 100,000. And now we're contacting all the Facebook groups, whether they're, because a lot of the local, like clubs, a lot of like the local clubs, they have Facebook groups.
Yeah, that makes sense. Total sense. I never thought about that piece because I'm like, where are 400 coming from? But right there, every city usually has, again, a local club, right?
They
And
have a
that
local
club.
club. So we're starting to reach out to the, I mean, my first idea was, all right, local clubs probably are shopping at their local fish store, but they have a Facebook group to communicate, and, like everyone wants to communicate. So we're reaching out to them and we're saying, hey, we're SBB Corals. We're really interested in sponsoring your club. How can we sponsor your club? Whether, maybe we can host like a talking event, or, if we can give a donation to the club, or give, some free frags to the club. And we're contacting all of those local clubs, and, we're trying to basically build our brand, saying, hey, here's some, donations of corals. And, we just started that, so I can't necessarily tell you like what the results are, But we've gotten some new customers from that. So those are kind of like the newer things on Facebook. Some of the older things on Facebook is we're doing ads, from our business page. We're doing ads, and we then, take those ads, and we are, we have a very big association with like 5 different groups. One of them is the official STFU. One of them is the Shroom Room is one. One is like Frag Auction Place. So we do post on our business page, and we forward it to those groups. And then what we're doing also is we spend money. I mean, at this point, we have to spend marketing dollars, which we can get into. So when we first started Facebook, we were basically posting a picture on the business page, and then we were spending, like $15 to boost that ad over 15 days. And then, we were basically getting followers like that. So that's pretty much all of the Facebook stuff. We've kind of, been less from, we haven't really been focusing on Facebook as much, except for that new thing I mentioned about the 450 groups and trying to contact them and, seeing if we can promote there or if we can forward our message to there, with a big emphasis on really, talking to the local clubs, whether it's, trying to educate them on how we keep our parameters, or like I mentioned, doing like a raffle and donating free coral shipped to club members, that way. So that's kind of our Facebook strategies right now.
And on that piece of it, for example, if some of these local clubs, their presidents are watching you talk now, how do they get a hold of you to say, hey, we would like to help,
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, we would love to donate corals, high-end, nice corals, torches, tenuous, color tenuous. We would love to, you can contact us. You can send us a DM on any of our social. We answer all of our DMs, whether if you're on Facebook or if you're on TikTok or if you're on Instagram. Just send us a DM. We would love to collaborate with you, whether it's through education or whether it's through club donations. So yeah, please message us. We're highly interested in working with you.